Traffic coming from Stowe was a bit difficult. Just love being in the car for an hour and a half in the rain. Good evening, everyone, and we are here on this Thursday, September 26th, for the regular agenda for the regular Cumberland Fire Committee meeting. Let's first begin with a roll call. Commissioner Hayden.
Present.
Commissioner Hogan.
Here.
Commissioner Kutsiani is not able to be here. Commissioner Pacone.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here. Commissioner
Santoro and myself. So we have a quorum. And if we could all stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any general announcements? Okay. Let's go to the approval of minutes from the 27th of August. It seems so far away. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Madam Chair.
Motion, Commissioner Hogan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hayden. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of approval of the meetings from August 27th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Any communications? All right. Let's get on to new business. The Chief's report. Chief?
Good evening.
Good evening.
A breakdown of the calls for the month of August is attached to my report. It showed 404 calls for service. I'd like to mention tonight, August 25th, the Cumberland Professional Firefighters Local 2722 had another successful touch-a-truck event at Diamond Hill Park. There were over 5,000 attendees, and the local collected over 2,000 pounds of food for the Rhode Island Food Bank as an entrance fee. New to this year, the firefighters came up with a firefighter challenge. It gave an opportunity for elementary school-age children to perform firefighter tasks at an obstacle course set up and run by the firefighters. This proved to be a great success, and we are going to run another one this coming Saturday at the Franklin Farm Harvest Festival and Tractor Show located on the farm's property. On September 5th, it was reported to me that Truck 1 is our reserve ladder engine, had a mechanical deficiency. It was sent down to Ralco Equipment due to a lean in the driver's side front end. And I attached the report based on the findings of Ralco Equipment, and that's attached to the back, invoice number 10201. I'd like to add the truck is a 2000 KME. It's referred to as a Quint in the fire service, and it's a combination engine with a 75-foot aerial ladder. The truck is no longer a first-run truck. It is in reserve. It's had a long history of expensive repairs. From the time that we started using the truck, the electrical system was an issue. As former Chief Semino recalled in the hallway before this meeting, the truck has had major engine overhauls. When we first merged, we had it down at Ralco for major engine overhauls. And the fire pump has also been repaired. The average lifespan for ISO purposes is 20 years of service, which this truck didn't quite make as we're approaching 2020. Last year, the aerial ladder was pulled from service after failing its annual inspection due to the possibility of a catastrophic failure. This year, with that lien, we can no longer use the truck to its reserve status due to the above-mentioned items. And while being looked over at Ralco, in that report, it stated that the truck has a triple frame construction on the undercarriage. That frame is completely rotted, and all the structural members of that underneath that truck, holding up the skeleton of the truck, essentially, is failing at this point. So the truck is no longer roadworthy, and it's in my opinion that we look into taking all usable equipment off of that truck for spare equipment, ladders, and some hand tools that we can get off the truck, and get rid of the truck for a as-is type sale. It's no longer of value to really anyone, and it would almost cost money to part out the truck because of the extensive work that would need to be done. I would also like to add, because that was a backup ladder, in buying the regional Central Falls ladder truck through the Greater Woonsocket Fire Chiefs, so there's numerous communities, that gives us our ISO requirements of having a reserve ladder. So by getting rid of this truck, we won't run a deficit with the ISO points. Also, I'd like to mention, on September 6th, I received a letter of gratitude from the Johnston Fire Chief, Peter Lamb. The Johnston Fire Department tragically lost a firefighter, Richard Gemma. In solidarity, Captain Craig Emerson, firefighter Brian Clark, firefighter Dave Sinkmars, and firefighter Gary Grenier worked a voluntary detail to provide station coverage in Johnston so that they can say goodbye to their brother firefighter. I would like to also add, this voluntary detail was filled within 10 minutes of me notifying the department. Firefighter Sullivan and firefighter Jacob Ravello represented the Cumberland Fire Department for the Honor Guard services. On September 13th, Engine 1 and Ladder 1 attended a car show at 100 Menden Road as they memorialized Cumberland firefighter Christopher Borges. We suddenly lost firefighter Borges last year, August 30th, and there was a great event in his honor, and the members were happy to be there. I would also like to inform the board we have had 2 retirements this past month, Captain John Fogarty and firefighter Robert O'Neill. Captain Fogarty had nearly 40 years of service to Cumberland. He began as a volunteer with the Ashton Fire District and was promoted to full-time status, where he completed over 29 years. Firefighter O'Neill had nearly 45 years of service to the Cumberland Fire. He started as a volunteer with North Cumberland Fire Department and was promoted to full-time status, completing over 30 years in that role. On September 18th, the crew of Engine 1 was Lieutenant Michael Connors, firefighter Steve Duffy, and firefighter on probation Gregory Grimes assisted Cumberland EMS with a childbirth in the residence. On September 21st, Engine 4, Ladder 1, attended a community event at the Cumberland Plaza, while Engine 5 and Engine 1 attended St. John Vianney's Fall Festival. The events provided opportunity for community relations and fire education. Respectfully submitted, Chief Anderson.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions for Chief Anderson?
Chief, I don't understand, Valco didn't charge us any labor for the work they did to evaluate the ladder truck, right?
That is correct. It was a visual estimate. He did provide pictures, and he provided a video on the mechanical creeper underneath the truck, showing me a very comprehensive study of the undercarriage of that truck.
I'd like to recognize that and appreciate that. It's awesome. And that's not commonly found these days, and it's very much appreciated.
I did too.
Anybody have any other questions?
Madam Chair, Chief, I know you're saying that truck is junk. Would it make any sense to try to look at that thing and try to turn it into some kind of a utility vehicle that we could still use, or is it just totally not even worth, you know what I mean?
I do understand that truck is not roadworthy at this point due to that triple frame. The corrosion is so bad that it wouldn't be able to support anything further. It would need frame rail replacement, as noted, and I wouldn't want to put any money into that vehicle at this point. It's out of service by my order now. I don't want that truck back on the road.
Thank you. And one other question, Madam Chair. Chief, so it looks like they'll be doing two promotional exams coming up, I would imagine?
So I'm in the process of finding the lowest bid for the testing procedures following the collective bargaining agreement. Those, once selected, once that bid is selected, the exam needs to be posted for 120 days per the contract. So it would be late winter before we could run a test.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pardon me for my ignorance. If someone who had firefighting experience applied for the position, would they have to go through the process of the testing?
Yes. So I spoke on a promotional. The 120 days is for promotional.
Okay.
But the next available class at the Rhode Island Fire Academy is not until the end of February, early March. So the timeline is pretty close, and that's been our standard practice for the last few hires.
So what if somebody from Cranston wanted to come to Cumberland, who had already gone through the academy?
Lateral transfers are done in communities. We haven't done that as the Cumberland Fire District. That would have to be studied with. That would have to have further study as the transfer process.
Okay.
But that would, if they were qualified, that would meet the needs of the district.
Is there a way we can proceed with doing something like that in addition to the promotional exam, or in addition to whatever the hiring process is going to be prior to getting the two people into the academy in February or late February?
I can certainly put it for further study and get back to you as soon as possible.
Because this means that October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, we're now paying overtime for 2 firefighters.
Currently, through the firefighter assistance grant, those positions are being filled with the floating position that was made. So currently, those 2 positions have a probationary firefighter assigned to them to save that overtime expense.
Are we allowed to do that through the grant?
It's being researched now. Those positions were just recently vacant. So Steve, the finance director, and myself have researched that. We're awaiting word from the grant.
Okay. Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jones?
Commissioner Hayden and I had a chance to meet Chief Anderson at Station 1 to go over the same details he just reviewed on Truck 1, the KME. There's much salvageable equipment, like you stated, that could come off that to be used on other apparatus. And so we did get a first-hand look, and we did view the video that Ralco had provided to the chief and saw the actual corrosion damage on video. So I imagine that video is available to anyone that wants to see it. It's on your phone, I think. It's a little much to download size-wise for a file, but that's available. My only question is, can we act on that now, or do we have to wait a month to put that in resolution form to sell that truck as is and have the proper bill of sale to legally cover the district? You set questions for the solicitor. Can under this business of the chief's report, can we move to dispose of that truck if we decide to do that? Or should we wait a month and put it in a resolution form?
There's nothing in the report about selling the truck, is it? You got another one if you want to check.
Okay.
I can give it to you.
That's okay. There's nothing in the report about selling the truck, correct? It's just the general description in this report about selling the truck, correct?
But you recommend,
That's something you just said. It was not in this document, correct?
I recommended we get rid of the vehicle in an as-is type manner.
third paragraph down, 9/5/19. You recommend selling it as is?
It will take me some time to get the necessary equipment off the truck. It's not something that we need an answer for even before the next meeting, but I'm sorry, it would be, we could have the equipment off by the next meeting, but it's not, this isn't an urgent matter. It's just, it's out of service, parked at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would suggest offloading the apparatus that's salvageable, and then we can make a resolution next month to forward the sale. Okay. Works for me.
Thank you.
Add to that list that we're not using? Let us know. You want to sell? Like the bus or any other vehicles you find that we're not using that you want to sell?
We're using our two reserve
I mean-
engines.
Wasn't there a bus that you wanted to sell?
I didn't want to sell that bus. The bus was purchased.
Okay.
It was actually donated from.
I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yeah, RIPTA. It was actually donated from RIPTA.
Okay.
We had to put $600 worth of tires on that vehicle,
Oh, okay.
and it's in excellent mechanical shape. We've used that bus for training events, for different rehab type functions, and it's still usable for the district.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jones?
It included in Commissioner Hayden's visit to Station 1, we did discuss the bus, the ride bus, and the chief had some good recommendations of using it for rehab at long scenes. You could probably elaborate more, and some of that equipment to equip that can be taken off truck 1 as far as lighting and so forth. If you want to elaborate on that. So,
The bus still looks, has the RIPTA striping on it. We haven't put any work into the bus. We could use the radios and potentially some lighting and siren off of truck 1 to make it more of an emergency response vehicle. But that would be secondary, and that's something we can work towards. Again, not urgent at this point. We've used it as is for our purposes without issue. So that can all be part of the plan for the future.
Okay. Motion to approve the chief report by Commissioner Santoro is a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor of, any discussion? Sorry. All in favor of accepting the chief's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Finance Director's report. Steve?
The full package is here tonight after the discussion at the last meeting, so everything here is, hopefully it meets what you needed to look at, everybody, all the board members. If there's something here something not here, please let me know. I am working on revising the tax collector's report to make it a little more simplified, so it's more understandable, and so it stands by itself. I did want to report that as of yesterday, 58% of the taxes have been received so far in the district, cumulative. And we haven't entered the busy season yet for the next quarterly coming in. So as of yesterday, it was 58% stands collected. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions on the finance report?
Thank you.
Is there a motion to accept the financial report on the table?
Motion to accept.
Motion by Commissioner Pacone, second. Second by Commissioner Santoro. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of accepting the Finance Director's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. On to public input. Would anyone in the public? Again, state your name and your address.
Ted Vecchio, 51 Ralco Way, representing Ralco Equipment. I just wanted to, I don't know what the procedure is, just to go back to the chief's report, I just wanted to clarify a few things on the apparatus stuff. Truck 1, I can send you the video if you like, but the frame is like the chief said, triple frame like they used to do back then. And what happens, it's called rust jacking, so the frame isn't if you go under there, the frame isn't necessarily rotted per se, where you can see and it's small and you can poke holes through. What it is it's sandwiched together, and originally it's a nice tight fit, but the water gets in there and starts building up, and the rust actually pushes the frame apart. And we usually see that with a double frame. There's not many trucks that are triple frame around anymore. This indicates the age of the trucks, but the fire trucks are usually a bit behind. So the newer fire trucks are coming out with, single frames. But what's happening is you go onto the fire truck and you see that the flange of the frames are spreading, and everything else is bolted to the frame, the suspension. So now the angles have all changed on that. And what particularly happened is when they put it in reserve service and they drove it, it hit a couple of bumps, and some of the rust started to come out in certain areas on the right side, and that caused the truck to lean. I'm sorry, on the left side, that caused it to lean to the left. So once the rust had come out now and been worked free, the flange is going to break. And once the flange breaks, it's obviously no good, so we're trying to avoid that. The bus, when you guys are talking about the bus was a great purchase and asset, but something that you need to know about that bus is it's got a 6-liter Ford engine in it, so you need to run that bus. You might not be using it a lot, but it'd be well worth the while to just run it. Just take it on the highway once in a while, even if it's once a week. And I don't know how you could work that in your schedule, but it's very important to run that truck and open it up on the highway, because those 6 liters are very temperamental. They usually run unbelievable, and then it's like $3,000 because it just dies. So you start changing. Once you get into that, you pretty much have to change everything. So we don't want to avoid that, and there's not a lot of warning. So the worst thing for that truck to do is sit. So you just want to run that truck, even if it's just, for the firemen to go groceries or whatever, something, just run the truck. And the community ladder is a great idea, but some of the thing I don't understand is I've only seen that ladder twice. So I don't know what's going on with the service on that. I know that the former chief, which I believe is still the same way, is Cumberland has the burden of managing that, dealing with the financial part. But I think that now that it's going to be the reserve for Cumberland as well as the other communities, that we should probably take a good look at it to see what kind of shape that's in. That's it. Just wanted to touch on that. I didn't know if it was appropriate to go in the chief's report or in the public comments. So.
I have a question for you, because if, would there have been a recall, or is there any other research going on? If that truck is not that old and it should not be rusting like that?
I wouldn't, my personal opinion, I don't know the ISO, they said 20 years, but the way I look at it is that truck is a lead truck for 10 or 11 years, and then it should go to a reserve and to get the other 9 years out of it. You know what I mean? That's the way I would assume that would work. But that truck never had the benefit of that. I mean, I think you've only had ladder 1 for 4 or 5 years, right? Is it 4? So that truck ran the burden of, for a while. I don't recall the other ladder truck was really old. I think I saw that maybe once. So, but there's KME. There's no lifetime structural, or anything like that, especially on a triple frame.
All right. Well,
and as soon as they get under there, I have the video if you need me to send it to you. But as soon as anyone gets under there and sees that, I mean, it's not something that maintenance can prevent. Unfortunately, it's just, it's the way they did things back then, and it's been corrected now, today.
Well, yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Any other public comment? All right. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? Oh, before we do anything, I have to, and I was in such a rush here, I have to note that I suggested the wrong interpretation of what I thought the executive session should look like, and I added litigation in there. So I believe it's A that doesn't even exist.
Madam Chairperson, no, it's B.
It's B. Okay.
B is the one that should not.
B is the one that does not exist. That was my fault in discussing with Kerry, and I apologize for that. So if we could just cross B right out. Before we enter into executive session, I want to make that publicly known that this was my mistake.
Madam Chairperson, that's item 8B, is that correct? That's correct.
That is correct. 8B. Thank you. Relative to a grievance filed to a collective bargaining agreement and/or investigative proceedings pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-465A9 and Rhode Island General Law 42-465A4 was my mistake. So that is 8B being eliminated.
I make a motion we go into executive session.
Commissioner Santoro makes a motion to go into
Session to discuss items of business cited in Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5, subsection A, subsections 1 through 9.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hayden. Any discussion? All in favor of going into executive session to discuss the litigation and/or investigative proceedings pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-465A2 and Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A4. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. We'll give a moment for everybody to break down, leave the room. All right. Can I have a motion to seal the minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Santoro. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pacone. Any discussion? All in favor of sealing the minutes in executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hogan. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Passes 6-0. Thank you very much.